If you're a teacher aspiring to teach and live here in the USA, there are two visa options for you. Hello, this is Teacher Arlene, and in here, I will be sharing the 7 main differences between the H1B and the J1 visa, so that at the end of this video, you will be able to decide which one is better for you. If you're a teacher aspiring to teach and live here in the USA, there are two visa options for you, the H1B visa and the J1 visa. The H1B visa is an employer-based working visa. In other words, the schools and the school districts that will hire you as a teacher will also sponsor the visa for you. You are then expected to teach and get paid for it. The J1 visa, on the other hand, is a program-based visa. When you apply for this visa, you are then expected to participate in the culture exchange program between the US and your home country. The schools or school districts that will hire you as a J1 teacher will only serve as your host school. That means you will have to find a J1 visa sponsor to sponsor your visa for you. Before I proceed, I just want to emphasize that the information I'm sharing here is specific to teachers only. It may or may not be true for other categories for these visas, such as for engineers or doctors. With that said, let's compare the two visas in terms of teacher qualifications, intent, visa fee, processing time, period of stay, dependent visa, and taxation. In terms of qualifications, for both H1B and J1 visa, you must have the following minimum requirements: at least a bachelor's degree in education and at least 2 years of experience. Now, if you have a master's degree or a PhD, the better. If you have more experience, also the better. For H1B visa, you must have a valid US teaching license. So if you want to go this route, you must prepare for this one. You can get your US teaching credential while you're still in your home country. Yes, it is possible. You don't need a valid US teaching license for J1 visa. However, you must be currently teaching. Remember that in the J1 visa, you are part of the culture exchange program between the US and your home country. And one of its requirements is for you to connect your home country students and your US students. So for you to easily do this, you must be currently teaching so that you have a connection still in your home country while teaching as a J1 teacher in the US. You may ask, if I don't have a bachelor's degree in education, can I still apply? The answer is yes, because I myself, I don't have a bachelor's degree in education, but I'm still able to land a job, a teaching career here in the US. There are ways for it. Now, in terms of intent, the H1B visa is dual intent, whereas the J1 visa is non-immigrant intent. What does this mean? In a dual intent visa or in an H1B visa, you can apply for a green card. Whereas in the J1 visa, you cannot apply for a green card because you are subject to the 212E rule or the 2 years home residency, which means that once you have finished your maximum stay here in the US as a J1 teacher, you have to go back to your home country and spend or live 2 years in there because you are expected to share your experience and learning here in the US as a J1 teacher. Now, after the 2 years, you can come back to the US with either H1B visa or J1 visa. Let's talk about finance a little bit, specifically the visa fee. For H1B, you don't have to pay for the visa as a school or school district is legally required to pay for it for you. For J1 visa, on the other hand, you as a teacher, in most cases, will have to pay for your visa. However, check with your visa sponsor because some visa sponsors have negotiated it with their partner school or partner school district. And instead of you paying, the school district will pay for the visa for you. In terms of processing time, the H1B visa takes longer, roughly around 6 months to 1 year, whereas the J1 visa is relatively shorter. In fact, you can have your visa within 2 to 3 months. This depends on how ready you are in your requirements or how quick you are in gathering your requirements. At the same time, it also depends on your visa sponsor on how quick they respond to your queries and how quick they process the DS 2019. In terms of the period of stay, the H1B visa is better because although both visas will give you an initial 3 years, for the H1B, you will have an additional 3 years as opposed to just an additional 2 years for the J1 visa. So therefore, your maximum period of stay for H1B is 6 years, for J1 visa is just 5 years. But if you consider the benefits of the dependent visa, the J1 visa is better because your J2 dependents can work for your duration of stay in the US. All you have to do is apply for the employment authorization documents for your J2 dependents so that they can work in the US. For H1B, your dependents basically cannot work. However, there are certain conditions that will enable them to work. For example, if you have already filed your Form I-140 or your immigrant petition for alien worker, and that form is already approved, then your H4 dependents can file for EAD. It is the same document that the J2 dependents will file if they wish to work in the US. Finally, taxation, which is the most interesting part. If you are a J1 teacher, listen to this. You don't have to pay for taxes for your first 2 years of stay in the US. Although you will have tax deductions for your first 2 years, but at the end of the year, you will get a tax refund for those taxes you have paid. This is not the case for H1B because you will have to pay for taxes in the same way as US residents do. I'm a J1 teacher and I'm currently on my 2nd year of extension. In other words, this is my 5th and last year here in the US. So when I started my job application, I really did not think of what visa to have. I just wanted change to happen in my life quickly at that time. So I'm the kind of person who really wants to stay with my family. So I'd rather, if there are options, I'd rather stay in the Philippines, my home country, and live with my family and work there or have business there. But then, me and my husband, we were working so hard and we thought nothing was happening in our lives. We were stagnant at that time. So I really wanted change to happen in our lives. So at first, I thought that J1 visa was better for me. But then over time, as things happen in my life and as things happen in the world and affected my life and as my goals changed, I realized that H1B visa was better. So if I could only turn back time and go back to my job application process, I should have researched more about it and I should have waited and then have H1B visa because it is what's fit for our goals at this time. So I wish you the best in your journey and I believe you can make it happen.